Throughout history, fantastic treasures from various cultures have been stolen or otherwise gone missing. Often their theft or disappearance happens during times of war or disaster, when they cannot be protected or when a military force decides to take treasures back home as a trophy. Sometimes these treasures are recovered, but many are still missing. Here's some top 6 treasures that never been found. Number 1. Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant, also known as the Ark of the Testimony, and in a few verses across various translations of the Bible as the Ark of God, is a gold-covered wooden chest with a lid cover described in the book of Exodus as containing the 2 stone tablets of the 10 Commandments. According to the New Testament book of Hebrews, it also contained Aaron's rod and a pot of manna. The biblical account relates that approximately 1 year after the Israelites' exodus from Egypt, the ark was created according to the pattern given to Moses by God when the Israelites were encamped at the foot of Mount Sinai. The ark was always hidden under a large veil made of skins and purple cloth, always carefully concealed, even from the eyes of the priests and the Levites who carried it. God was said to have spoken with Moses, from between the 2 cherubim, on the ark's cover. When at rest, the tabernacle was set up and the holy ark placed in it, under the veil of the covering, the staves of it crossing the middle sidebars to hold it up off the ground. During the construction of Solomon's temple, a special inner room, named Kadesh HaKodeshim, was prepared to receive and house the ark. And when the temple was dedicated, the ark containing the original tablets of the 10 Commandments were placed therein. In 587 BC, the Babylonians destroyed Jerusalem and Solomon's temple. There is no record of what became of the ark in the books of Kings and Chronicles. An ancient Greek version of the biblical 3rd book of Ezra, 1 Esdras, suggests that Babylonians took away the vessels of the Ark of God, but does not mention taking away the Ark. Number 2. Irish Crown Jewels. The Irish Crown Jewels or State Jewels of Ireland were the heavily jeweled star and badge regalia created in 1831 for the Sovereign and Grand Master of the Order of St. Patrick, an order of knighthood established in 1783 by George III as King of Ireland to be an Irish equivalent of the English Order of the Garter and the Scottish Order of the Thistle. The British monarch was the sovereign of the order, as monarch of Ireland until 1801 and of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland thereafter. The Lord Lieutenant of Ireland was the Grand Master in the absence of the sovereign. The insignia was worn by the sovereign at the investiture of new knights as members of the order, and by the Grand Master on other formal ceremonial occasions. They were stolen from Dublin Castle in 1907 along with the collars of 5 knights of the order. The theft has never been solved and the jewels have never been recovered. Experts estimate that Irish crown jewels value is around $20 million today. Number 3. Faberge egg. A Faberge egg is a Tsar Imperial Faberge egg, one of a series of 52 jeweled eggs made between 1885 and 1917 under the supervision of Peter Karl Faberge for the Russian imperial family, as an Easter gift for their wives and mothers. Only 46 eggs of 52 were survived. This is one of the lost imperial eggs, so few details are known about it. Experts estimate that the Faberge egg's value is around $33 million. Number 4. Treasure of Lima. When Spain had controlled Lima in the 16th century when it defeated the Incas. In the centuries that followed, the Roman Catholic Church gathered a huge treasure in Lima. In the early 19th century, Spain began to have difficulties with its colonies due to wars of independence in South America. Lima was no exception, and in 1820 the city came under heavy pressure and finally had to be evacuated. In 1820, Lima was on the edge of revolt. As a preventative measure, the Viceroy of Lima decided to transport the city's fabulous wealth to Mexico for safekeeping. The treasures included jeweled stones, candlesticks, and 2 life-size solid gold statues of Mary holding the baby Jesus. In all, the treasure was valued at between $150 to $200 million. Captain William Thompson, commander of the Mary Dear, was put in charge of transporting the riches to Mexico. Thompson and his crew proved to be unable to resist the temptation. They turned pirate, cut the throats of the guards and accompanying priests, and threw their bodies overboard. Thompson headed for Cocos Island, off the coast of present-day Costa Rica, where he and his men allegedly buried the treasure. They then decided to split up and lay low until the situation had calmed down, at which time they would reconvene to divvy up the spoils. However, Mary Dear was captured, and the crew went on trial for piracy. All but Thompson and his first mate James Alexander Forbes were hanged. To save their lives, the two agreed to lead the Spanish to the stolen treasure. They took them as far as Cocos Islands but then managed to escape into the jungle, and the treasure was never seen again, though it is believed that Thompson returned to Newfoundland with the aid of a whaling ship. Forbes settled in California, became a successful businessman, but never returned to the island. Number 5. Amber Room. The Amber Room was a chamber decorated in amber panels backed with gold leaf and mirrors, located in the Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg. Constructed in the 18th century in Prussia, the room was dismantled and eventually disappeared during World War II. Before its loss, it was considered an eighth wonder of the world. A reconstruction was made, starting in 1979 and completed and installed in the Catherine Palace in 2003. The Amber Room was intended in 1701 for the Charlottenburg Palace, in Berlin, Prussia, but was eventually installed at the Berlin City Palace. It was designed by German Baroque sculptor Andreas Schluter and Danish amber craftsman Gottfried Wolfram. Schluter and Wolfram worked on the room until 1707, when work was continued by amber masters Gottfried Thurau and Ernst Schacht from Danzig, Gdańsk. It remained in Berlin until 1716 when it was given by the Prussian King Frederick William I to his ally Tsar Peter the Great of the Russian Empire. In Russia, the room was installed in the Catherine Palace. After expansion and several renovations, it covered more than 55 square meters, 590 square feet, and contained over 6 tons, 13,000 pounds, of amber. The Amber Room was looted during World War II by the army group north of Nazi Germany, and taken to Königsberg for reconstruction and display. Its eventual fate and current whereabouts, if it survives, remain a mystery. Modern estimates of the room's value range from $142 million to over $500 million. Number 6. Copper Scroll Treasures. The Copper Scroll is a Dead Sea Scroll found in 1952, unique in that it is of copper, with a little tin, has a list of 63 or 64 locations of treasure with obscure hints of the locations. The scholarly consensus seems to be emerging that the Copper Scroll is an authentic record of ancient treasure, to be dated around 68 before the Common Era, and that its treasure belonged either to the sectarians of Qumran or the Temple in Jerusalem. Notably, it is not a work of literature and there are no legendary-type stories in it. Rather, it is an inventory of hidden treasures with some quite detailed descriptions, in part, of a specific location. For example, in the ruin which is in the valley of Acre, under the steps leading to the east at 40 half-brick cubits, there is a chest of silver in its vessels, a weight of 17 talents. None of these treasures have yet been found. To what extent the scroll is a genuine puzzle is, admittedly, debatable in that it may have been intended that only a specific individual, the person who hid it, could find a specific location unless he actually revealed key information to someone else. At any rate, it is likely, given the vagueness of the directions to the starting point of the search, that only someone with a detailed local knowledge of the landscape and buildings could find the locations listed in the scroll. It has also been suggested that a second document is needed to find the treasure, as item 64 on the list says. Item 64. In a pit adjoining on the north, in a hole opening northward, and buried at its mouth. A copy of this document, with an explanation and their measurements, and an inventory of each and everything. It may be argued that, on the basis that nothing has been found, the treasure is imaginary. However, the fact that the text of the scroll is very difficult to interpret, particularly given changes to the landscape over the centuries, is a major hindrance. It has also been suggested that the treasure was found centuries ago, by the Romans. Anyway, if the treasure is indeed measured in talents, its value would easily exceed $3 billion today. And, it's clear that whoever buried the treasure and created the Copper Scroll wanted the treasure to be found. Thank you for watching the video. We do hope you enjoyed and learned something. If you found value in this content, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Have a great day, and see you in the next one.